G'day, Bomber fans. Well, the other day I asked you guys to give me some names that you want the Bombers trying to trade for in this silly season. I'm going to put on my Matt Rosa hat and decide whether I would personally want the club trying to trade for them or not. We're going to go through it all at once. There are 30 players. We're going to go one by one and just decide whether we should or shouldn't trade for them. This is my opinion. Probably a pretty silly one. Let's just get started. Starting with a topical one, actually, because, Sam Draper's leaving the club. The Bombers have a ruck dilemma to think through. Will we stick with Brian and Vigo for the future, or will we approach someone fresh and new to bring in? Rowan Marshall's name has popped up a few times in this community and other chats. He's a very good ruck, one of the very best in the competition, and he would be an upgrade on Sam Draper. I think he's a better ruckman than Sam Draper. It's just whether or not we want to be bringing in a 30-year-old to be upgrading, on Draper while the club is clearly in a rebuild. So I think if we were closer to pushing for a flag or even finals, it would make sense, but I don't think it's the right move. I'd much rather we invest our time into Brian and Vigo. And look, would he really want to come to Essendon anyway? I hear Geelong are keen, so that's probably the go there. It's a no from me. Connor Budarick, that's an interesting one because we're linked to him. A few clubs are linked to him. A few clubs are keen. He's been in and out of that Gold Coast team a lot in the last few years. This year, actually, he's played his most footy, 18 games. He just played in the final against Freo, so he's actually found his way back into the team. But before this year, he had played 21 games in 4 seasons. A lot of VFL footy in there. So, yeah, he was clearly on the outer a tad, and clubs see that. They're coming for him. We want defensive depth as well. I think it makes sense. I think the Suns are a team looking to offload players as well and picks. They need to clear up to get some NGA kids in. So he's a good age. 25 next year. I think this makes sense. And it would give us another reliable defender to have, which means we could probably move McGrath into the midfield, which is where he looked better last year. If that's an option. We might not choose to go with that. But if we were to, Connor Budarick would make a lot of sense as a pickup. Jed Bews. I like this too. So I probably prefer Budarick if we're going for a defender. But let's say we go through the trade period and we don't bring in any defenders and we have a spare list spot to work with. I really wouldn't be opposed to using it on someone like Jed Bews. It doesn't have to be him specifically, but that type of player. He is out of favour at Geelong. I wouldn't be surprised if he's delisted at Geelong, really. He's still able to play footy, just not really good enough to break into Geelong's side, which is the best in the comp. So, but I don't mind the idea of bringing a player, a senior player from an elite system in like that. He would help drive standards. He would help be that steady head for younger players. You might not even use him that much on game day because I don't think he's as good as he once was. But, 31 years old, premiership player, just for a year it would make sense if we had enough spots on the list, which is looking unlikely. But if we do, I wouldn't be opposed to this at all. Elijah Hewett, West Coast, powerful midfielder in his draft year, hasn't quite been able to get it going at that team. He's played a fair bit of midfield this year. Only 2 ground level players at West Coast have spent more time in centre bounces than him on average, but he's still accumulating a bit less than you would like. This guy, he's got some good attributes. You can see him being a good player down the line with some development. Contracted till next year, still really young, good draft pick. It just seems like it would be a good pickup, but I think it would be a bit too expensive. I'd rather the club draft someone, in those early stages rather than give up a decent draft pick for a guy like this. I assume that the Eagles would be asking for a low first or a high second rounder, which is too much for me, so probably a no, I think. From Elijah Hewett to Elijah Hollands. So the Blues are trying to trade him, which means he would probably be cheaper than, I guess, what him as a player suggests. He's pretty talented and he's classy, he's a good runner, good user. He definitely could be a player that the Bombers like. The issue is the off-field stuff. That's why the Blues don't want him. He's got professionalism issues. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. It's tough to judge this one. I'd be down if he seemed really eager to be a proper footy player and get his career back on track, but it's hard for us snuffies on the outside to judge. So I'm going to say 50-50. If he seems really keen to get back into playing footy, it's a yes. Or not get back into playing footy, but get back into really properly playing footy. 50-50. Zak Butters, he's not leaving Port Adelaide this year. He would be far too expensive. I do want to say, though, so it's a no from me in 2025, but a yes in 2026, because he'll be a free agent next year. This year, he would cost 400 first-round picks, so it's not happening. Mitch Lewis, interesting one, because this guy's career's gone in a funny place. He doesn't really mean much to the Bombers. Like, we've got enough key forwards as it is, but other clubs, definitely something there. He was dropped for Hawthorn's elimination finals. Injuries have messed with him, just 10 games in 2 years. I like Lewis as a player. I don't know how much he has left in the tank to really improve on what he is. So his value's probably decreased, but nothing that we really need, so it's a no from me, I think, on that one. Zach Bailey, we are planning to go hard for him. Same with Zak Butters, though. Like, I like the aggressiveness, I like the big money thrown around. I don't want to be giving up too many draft picks, so it's a no in 2025, because we'd have to give up a fair bit to get him, but in 2026, when he's a free agent, if he wants to leave, I'm happy to pay overs for him. Zach Bailey's teammate, Kai Lohmann, we've been keen on him in the past. We tried to get him over in 2022 or 2023. He stayed at the Lions. The way I see this, if we've got guys wanting out of the club to join Brisbane, like Jordan Ridley, for example, Kai Lohmann could be used as a bit of a sweetener or something. But if not, like, we're not really going to be spending lots of capital on a smaller forward. I think he would make our team a lot better, Kai Lohmann, but I'd probably say no if we're just giving up draft picks, because I feel like he could be worth a fair bit, and we've got NGA players coming through. We've probably got other positions to prioritise. But if there was a trade, if he was a sweetener, I'm happy with that. Liam Ryan, so we're linked, we were keen, it looks like he's going to St Kilda. In a weird way, I think this makes more sense than Kai Lohmann, because Ryan would be cheaper. It's kind of like, he's approaching 30, so he's kind of the same as Jed Bews in a weird way. He's an upgrade on Guelphy and Gresham, and I feel like he'd be a really handy player to have in the forward line while Kako and Swade and Huss are all growing. He'd take the attention off them. I think it makes sense, but it's, the money being thrown around, what I'm seeing seems a bit silly. So for that money, it's a no, but, the pickup in general, the idea of it, I like. Henry Hustwaite. Look, this is a guy, I was so big on Henry Hustwaite back in the 2023 draft, or 2022 draft. I really liked him. I thought he was a really underrated pickup because the Hawks picked him up late. I think it was in the 30s. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's kind of like a Elijah Sardis, where he's a really good contested, ball-winning midfielder, does really well at the VFL, just not the same at AFL level. I'd say no, to this. He's definitely gettable, and the Hawks would definitely be wanting to trade him. But yeah, I liked him a lot in his draft year. I still think he could be a handy midfielder, but we've got players like him on the list already, so it's just a no from me. Cam Mackenzie, on the other hand, is a massive yes. This guy is... So he's also on the outer at Hawthorn. He's playing in the midfield in the VFL with Henry Hustwaite, not in that AFL finals team. This is a guy I think could be a really good player, though. I really like his class on the footy. He's a really good ball user. I think you can do a lot with this guy. And the Hawks, they want to be improving that midfield. They're going for star midfielders, so he's probably going to be on the outer even more. It'll be harder for him to get games next year. So I think it's a big yes for me. I really hope the Bombers are asking the question of Mackenzie to the Hawks. And if Merritt does decide to request a trade, like some are saying, if I'm the Bombers, I'd be asking for draft picks and Cam Mackenzie, because, yeah, I really like him. Sean Darcy, another ruckman, replacing Draper. It's a no from me. I like him as a player, but, with ruck rules changing to reduce stoppages, it makes those big stand and deliver types less important, I guess. And Darcy's a very good tap ruck, but I'd want someone a bit more mobile to replace Draper if we're spending big on it. So, yeah, no from me. Pete Ladhams, as depth, I guess. I wouldn't... This is where we talk about whether Goldie staying on the list is a good decision or not. Because is Pete Ladhams a better ruck on his day than Todd Goldstein? I'd say probably not. But he'll probably last the season a bit better than Goldie would. I think with Goldie, you've got that experience. He's actually coaching while on the list. I think it makes more sense for him to stay than for us to delist him and then bring in someone like Pete Ladhams. So it's probably a no from me. Same with Ivan Soldo. It's depth at Port Adelaide. He's a decent ruck at his best, but so is Goldie, I think. So I'd be keeping the rucks pretty much the same, unless we can get a good upgrade, a good value ruck. But at 29 years old, it's a no from me on Ivan Soldo. Big Jed Walter, really promising player. I still like him a lot. It's tough to justify spending big on a young key forward when we've got Caddy and May developing and all the others in the forward line as well. I think if we want a promising big forward, we get one in the draft, because you've got guys like Aiden Schubert and Archie Ludowick and Mitch Marsh. But I'd much rather be spending draft picks on those players than Jed Walter. So it's a no from me. Zane Duursma, on the other hand, is a bit different, because this is a player that's a bit more mobile and a bit more X factor. He's not quite getting it together at North yet, but there is a player there. Like, you can see it. He had that mark of the year grab the other year, or maybe a nomination. But he's just so talented, so athletic. I'd like him on the list, to be honest, but it's just, how do you get it done? Like, if North wanted Sardis, I'd be happy to throw away later picks, but do you want to give away a first rounder on Zane Duursma? Probably not. So, I mean, yes, under the right circumstances here. I wouldn't mind Zane Duursma on the list. Build a little army of Duursmas. Sam Flanders, yeah, I'll say yes, he's a handy player. He's a pretty good outside, team member. He's not a star or anything. His numbers probably do make him look a bit more impactful than he maybe is, but he would make our best 23 better. It kind of just depends on how expensive he'd be, and I don't think the Suns would be after high picks that much this year, so like a second rounder maybe wouldn't be the worst thing to part with if we brought in a player like Flanders, so I think this makes sense. And Alex Davies too, I really like this guy. I think this was probably live a few weeks ago when he was in the VFL, but he broke into the AFL team, and now he's been playing really well, so he's probably looking likely to stay, I'd say, but he's a great inside mid, or a really promising inside mid, tackling machine. I think he stays at the Suns, but I'd be all in for the club going for him. I like him a lot. It's a yes from me. Buku Khamis. So he wants it out at the Bulldogs. He's a versatile player, great athlete. It's tough because, I'm trying to think, would we be happy if Buku Khamis was announced on the list? Like, would he play? I don't know. I think he'd only play if we weren't fully fit. I think he's more a defender in my eyes, and I think our defense is it's probably on the same level as Buku as a player. Like, you don't really need an upgrade of him in there. He'd probably play a bit, but can we justify giving away second rounders for a player like him? It's probably a no from me. I don't mind him as a player though. I think he would probably just get a game, but it wouldn't be like it's a huge upgrade or anything. Same with Griffin Logue, to be honest. Like, it's probably a no. I get that there's that need for key defenders, but I think there are other options to be looking at instead of Griffin Logue. I like Jordan Butts. I wouldn't mind the club going for Jordan Butts in the off-season. And fans would lose their minds if we brought in another key defender after the Mackay deal. We gotta have like a limit on how many North players we can bring in. Mitch Hinge, not a key defender. He plays in defence. Slightly out of favour at Adelaide. This is an interesting one, because this guy, I feel like he was really high up in their best and fairest a few years ago, and now he's, he was playing sub on the weekend against Collingwood. He's probably more at risk of losing his place in that team than others that are around them. I mean, when they get more numbers around, he could be on the out, so clubs could maybe act early to try and bring him in, but yeah, like, we've got Redmond, we've got Clark and Johnson developing, so I don't think Hinge is like a needs-based player, same as Buku Khamis. It's probably a no. Oh, is it a no? I don't know. It depends on price. I think if he was like really cheap, if he was a third rounder, it's a yes, but I don't know. I do like Mitch Hinge though. I also like Max Gruzewski. He is a GWS key forward. I really like this guy. He could be a great pickup. I just don't think he's what the Bombers need. We cannot be bringing in another fringe key forward after signing on everyone. We've got McMahon, we've got Edwards, we've got Jones, we've got too many key forwards. So no Max Gruzewski this year. Bruce Reville is a rogue shout. I don't mind it. I like him as a player. He's got some good traits. He's got a bit of cult figure status about him, which we need with Draper leaving. Versatile enough to bring into the squad without messing things around too much. Out of contract next year, so you'd have to trade for him, but shouldn't cost too much. I don't mind this one too much. Lachlan Murphy, interesting player. Adelaide fans don't like him. If you live in SA, you know that the Crows fans they latch onto one player that they don't like. I feel like it was Himmelberg last year. This year it's Lachlan Murphy. It's interesting because I think he's rated highly internally, or at least he was. He was in their leadership group last year. I don't know if he still is. Solid impact player at his best in the forward half, but it's probably a no from me. Billy Dowling's an interesting one. Another Crows player. It's a really rogue shout. I didn't think that I'd be talking about Billy Dowling, but he has been tearing it up in the sandful for the Crows. He's been playing absurd footy over there. He hasn't really been able to crack into that stacked AFL side, but he's definitely on the outer. But the Crows would surely listen to offers because of that, and he wouldn't be expensive. I think it's a yes, honestly, for Billy Dowling. I think it's a tentative yes. If we have list spots available, if we had a lot of players leave, if it's, this kind of gives me SSP, but he is contracted, so maybe it's more of a no than a yes. Campbell Chesser is a yes from me. It looks like he's off to the Blues though. I wouldn't mind him at Essendon. He's got some pace. He's got some skills. I think he'd be playing footy at Essendon. But yeah, it looks like he's going to be joining our rivals instead. Marcus Windhager looks like he's staying at St Kilda, unfortunately. If he wasn't, it's a yes. Or is it a yes? It's probably a yes. Like, I wouldn't be... I'd be worried about the price and how similar he is to other players on the list. Because realistically, like I wouldn't be breaking the bank for Windhager. We don't need him, but he would be very handy and could unlock some other roles in the midfield for other players. So it's a yes, but it's not like a break the bank yes. George Wardlaw is a tough one, and it just hurts saying his name, doesn't it? Like, I'm going to say no. It's just because of his body. I think he's a great talent, great attributes and attitude. Essendon fan as well growing up, that's good, but yeah, I just don't know how well he is going to hold up in the next few years. His body is... It's a bit of a worry, George Wardlaw. He has to get that right, unfortunately. And finally, Mitch Knevitt. I like this one. Geelong midfielder, another big-bodied midfielder. This is a yes from me. I think he would be an upgrade on Setterfield, an upgrade on Hobbs, those types of players. It would give us a reason to offload midfield options that we've got on the out of contract. He's a good size, good solid role player. Wouldn't be too expensive. This one makes sense. It's a yes from me. But yeah, that is all. Cheers for watching, Bomber fans. Those were 30 players you guys are thinking about the Bombers bringing to the club, and I'm giving my thoughts on them. Plenty to come, guys, on the channel. There's a bit of draft content coming in the next few days, so stay tuned for that. But that is all. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and as always, go Bombers.